You're scrolling through social media at the end of a perfectly ordinary day. You cooked dinner, had a decent conversation with a friend, finished some work, maybe watched something that made you laugh. You were fine. Maybe even content. Then you see it, someone's vacation photos from a place you've always wanted to go. Someone's promotion announcement. Someone's perfectly decorated home or their fitness transformation or their happy family portrait. And suddenly, the day you were having isn't good enough anymore. What felt like a satisfying life 30 seconds ago now feels small and lacking. You've just been poisoned by comparison, and you didn't even realize you were drinking. This happens so quietly, so automatically, that most of us don't notice we're doing it. You meet someone at a party who's more successful in your field, and suddenly you feel like a failure even though 5 minutes ago you felt fine about your career. Your friend buys a house, and suddenly your apartment feels shabby even though yesterday you were happy there. Someone younger than you achieves something you're still working toward, and the accomplishment that used to motivate you now just makes you feel behind. Comparison doesn't announce itself. It just slides in and reframes your entire reality, turning what was enough into not enough, turning satisfaction into inadequacy. The cruelty of comparison is that it's designed to be unfair. You're comparing your full reality, everything you know about your struggles and failures and insecurities, against someone else's highlight reel, the carefully curated version of their life they choose to show the world. You see their success but not the failures that led to it. You see their happy relationship but not the fights they had last week. You see their confidence but not their private doubts. You're essentially comparing your behind-the-scenes footage to someone else's final cut, and then feeling bad that you don't measure up. Theodore Roosevelt said that comparison is the thief of joy, and he was exactly right. But it's not a dramatic theft, not someone breaking in and taking everything at once. It's slow erosion, the way water wears down stone. Each comparison is tiny, barely noticeable. But you make hundreds of them every day. You compare your body to bodies in advertisements. Your career trajectory to your college classmates. Your parenting to what you see online. Your relationship to fictional ones in movies. Your creativity to professional artists. Your home to design magazines. Your life to everyone else's, constantly, reflexively, until you've created an existence where nothing you have or are is ever quite enough. What makes this particularly insidious in the modern world is that comparison used to be limited. You compared yourself to people in your village, your town, maybe your region if you traveled. The pool was small. Now, thanks to social media, you're comparing yourself to literally billions of people. You're measuring your art against every artist on Instagram. Your business against every entrepreneur on LinkedIn. Your life against every influencer's carefully staged moments. You've taken a cognitive bias that evolved to help small groups cooperate and applied it to the entire planet. Your brain wasn't designed for this. No one's was. The researcher Sean Aker talks about how happiness is less about what you have and more about where you think you stand relative to others. He describes an experiment where people were asked if they'd rather earn $50,000 while everyone else earned $25,000, or earn $100,000 while everyone else earned $200,000. Rationally, you'd want the second option because you're getting twice as much money. But a significant number of people chose the first option because at least they'd be doing better than everyone else. They'd rather have less if it means being on top. That's how powerful comparison is. We'll literally choose to be worse off if it means we're doing better relative to other people. I watched this destroy a friend's love of photography. She'd been taking photos for years, just for herself, finding joy in capturing light and moments. Then she started posting them online and comparing her work to professional photographers with expensive equipment and years of training. Suddenly her photos looked amateurish to her. The joy drained out of it. What had been a source of pleasure became a source of shame. She eventually stopped altogether, not because she lost interest, but because comparison had poisoned the well. She couldn't see her own work anymore without measuring it against everyone else's and finding it wanting. The paradox is that the things we compare are almost never comparable. You're comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. Your learning phase to someone else's mastery. Your private struggles to someone else's public victories. You're comparing across completely different contexts, resources, starting points, and privileges, and then acting like it's a fair measurement. Someone who inherited wealth has different financial options than someone who started with debt. Someone who's naturally extroverted has different social experiences than someone with social anxiety. Someone who's healthy has different capabilities than someone managing chronic illness. But comparison flattens all of this, treating everyone as if they're running the same race under the same conditions, when really we're all on completely different tracks. Even worse is what psychologists call upward comparison, where you specifically compare yourself to people doing better than you. This seems motivational in theory, like it should inspire you to improve. Sometimes it does. But more often it just makes you feel inadequate. You look at someone further ahead and instead of thinking, I can get there too, you think, I'll never get there. You focus on the gap instead of your own progress. You judge yourself by someone else's standards instead of your own values. You let external markers of success dictate what matters instead of figuring out what actually brings you fulfillment. There's a moment I remember clearly from years ago. I was feeling good about finishing a writing project that had taken me months. I was proud of the work, proud of the persistence. Then I saw that someone else had published 3 books in the same time period. Suddenly my one completed project felt pathetic. I went from pride to shame in seconds, and the work itself hadn't changed at all. Only the context had changed, only the comparison. I'd let someone else's productivity invalidate my own achievement, as if their existence somehow diminished mine. The writer David Foster Wallace gave a commencement speech where he talked about the default setting of human consciousness, the automatic, unconscious way we process the world. He described being stuck in traffic and automatically feeling like you're the center of the universe, like everyone else is just an obstacle to your progress. Comparison operates from the same default setting. The unconscious assumption that your life is the reference point and everyone else's life is either ahead of or behind yours on some universal scale of success. But there is no universal scale. There's just billions of people living different lives with different values and different definitions of what matters. Social media has turned comparison into a full-time occupation. The algorithms literally feed you content designed to make you feel something, and often that something is inadequacy. You see the incredible trip someone took, the awards someone won, the life milestone someone reached. The platforms don't show you the ordinary moments, the struggles, the failures, because those don't generate engagement. So you're essentially consuming a steady diet of other people's best moments while living in the full reality of your own average ones. It's a rigged game, and it's rigged to make you feel like you're losing. What comparison really reveals isn't how you measure up to other people. It reveals your own insecurities, your own fears about not being enough. If you're secure in your career, someone else's success doesn't threaten you. If you're comfortable with your body, you don't feel diminished by seeing someone with a different body type. If you're content with your life choices, you don't experience other people's different choices as implicit criticism. The things that trigger comparison are the things where you already have doubt, where you're already uncertain if you're okay. Comparison just exploits those existing wounds. The alternative isn't to never notice what other people are doing. That's impossible and probably not even desirable. The alternative is to notice without measuring, to see without judging, to appreciate without diminishing yourself. Someone else's beautiful home doesn't make yours ugly. Someone else's success doesn't make you a failure. Someone else's happiness doesn't steal yours. There's not a finite amount of good things in the world where someone else getting more means you get less. This isn't a zero-sum game, even though comparison makes it feel like one. I think about the Japanese concept of ikigai, this idea of finding your reason for being, the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be rewarded for. Notice that, what other people are doing, isn't part of the equation. Your purpose, your fulfillment, your joy, they have nothing to do with how you stack up against anyone else. They're about alignment between who you are and how you're living. But we spend so much energy looking sideways at what everyone else has that we never look inward at what we actually want. The trap is that comparison promises to motivate you but actually paralyzes you. When you're constantly measuring yourself against others, you're never quite good enough to start. You don't write because you'll never be as good as the writers you admire. You don't create because someone else already did something similar and did it better. You don't pursue your goals because you're already behind where you think you should be. Comparison doesn't inspire action. It justifies inaction. It gives you permission to not try because you've already decided you can't win. There's also the exhaustion of it. Constantly monitoring where you stand relative to everyone else, constantly recalculating your worth based on external metrics, constantly trying to catch up to moving targets. It's mentally exhausting and emotionally depleting. You're running a race that has no finish line because there will always be someone ahead of you in something. Always someone younger, richer, more talented, more accomplished, more beautiful, more whatever. You can't win. The only way to win is to stop playing. What happens when you stop comparing is that you get your joy back. You get to experience your own achievements without immediately undermining them by thinking about someone who achieved more. You get to appreciate what you have without focusing on what you don't have. You get to feel proud of your progress without measuring it against someone else's. You get to define success on your own terms instead of accepting society's narrow definitions. You get your attention back, your energy back, your life back. This doesn't mean becoming complacent or giving up on growth. It means grounding your growth in your own values rather than other people's accomplishments. It means competing with who you were yesterday, not with who someone else is today. It means asking, am I growing? Am I learning? Am I becoming who I want to be, instead of, am I ahead of or behind everyone else? Those are completely different questions, and they lead to completely different lives. The people who seem most content aren't the ones who have more than everyone else. They're the ones who've stopped measuring. They're the ones who decided that their life is their life, not a performance to be judged against everyone else's. They're the ones who figured out that joy doesn't come from winning comparisons but from being present in your own existence, grateful for what you have, engaged with what you're doing, connected to what matters to you. So stop drinking the poison. Stop scrolling through other people's lives and using them as evidence of your inadequacy. Stop letting strangers on the internet dictate how you feel about yourself. Stop measuring your ordinary days against everyone else's extraordinary moments. Stop treating life like a competition where there are winners and losers. It's not. It's just billions of people trying to figure out how to be human, how to be happy, how to matter. And you can't figure that out for yourself while you're busy watching everyone else. Your life is your own. Your pace is your own. Your path is your own. What someone else is doing has nothing to do with what you're capable of or what you deserve or whether you're enough. You were enough before you started comparing, and you'll be enough when you stop. The joy you're looking for isn't hiding in someone else's success. It's buried under all the comparisons you've been making, waiting for you to remember that you don't need to be better than anyone else. You just need to be you, fully and unapologetically, without measuring that against anyone. That's where joy lives. Not in winning. In stopping the game altogether.